Hey, BassGeek here, and today somebody's going to win an MTB Pro Box. So I hope the wind isn't too bad. Guys, it is giveaway time. This is the Mystery Tackle Box Pro. For those of you guys that don't know, I've teamed up with Mystery Tackle Box and I get a subscription every single month. In turn, I give this box, as much as I hate it, I do give this box away to one of you guys to help you guys out. This is part of my Sunday Fun Day series that is really geared toward the beginner. But the great thing about the Mystery Tackle Box is if you're bored throwing the same old baits, I know us old heads can get in a rut of doing the same thing day in, day out, season in, season out. This is a great way to discover new baits. Even Tackle Junkie has found a couple of baits that he really likes, and that dude is an old head. Just kidding, Tackle Junkie. I think I'm older than you. Anyway, it's also great for you young guys out there, or you beginners. If you're just now getting, whether you're pond fishing, whether you're fishing on a lake, or whether you're fishing in streams, Mystery Tackle Box is a great way to build that arsenal and build confidence in a lot of new and different baits. And the great thing about it is what you get in this box is about 40% off retail. So if you went out and bought these all at a store, retail, you're going to save about 40%. You get some good stuff in the Pro edition of the box. Now, you can also save 10 bucks on your first box by going to the description and using the code BassGeek when you first sign up for the subscription. So every month, if you sign up for the subscription, you're going to get new baits, you're going to get to try new things, you're going to get to learn and gain confidence in a lot of new techniques and baits. All right, let's get on with the unboxing. All right, so of course you're always going to get the catch code. We got a nice little sticker. We got some tips and tricks for the Dibble Digest. You can see here is your rundown of the cost. And one of the cool things is now you can go to Shop Carl's at Carl's Tackle Shop, and you can actually add anything from that store to your box, to your monthly subscription. That's a pretty cool deal. So what's in the box right now? Here we've got bio bait. This looks like a nice little drop shot worm in black. One of my favorite colors, as always. This is B8 Labs or Bait Labs Ultimate Strike Baits. This is squid scented, but this is one of my favorite colors. Looks like a watermelon red flake. Looks like a nice worm. Stick bait. Looks like it's really designed to be wacky rigged. Now, something that's in my area, this isn't quite up yet. The water's not warm enough, but a Buzzbait from Jinko. And then here's one I may not send you. You may not get this one in the box. This is a very translucent, good looking Lucky Craft square bill. And that's a good looking little square bill right there. Especially for the water that I fish, you know, generally pretty clear. Right now it's about 10 foot water clarity, and you know, the water's dropping. We get some hooks. We got some Katana Nico hooks. Comes with some wacky rings there to keep from tearing your bait. And guys, if you haven't seen, you might want to go back and dig up some of my older videos. But here are some bobber stops. Now, these right here are some things that I really use a lot, especially if you've got limited rods and reels or you're co-angling. You can use those bobber stops in a lot of different ways to make one presentation work as 2 or 3. So make sure you look at those. Those are by Excite Baits. Now, what I have tied on, so what I've got tied on is the Lunker Hunt True Spin. It's a little tail spin, and the reason why I've got that tied on right now, I'll show you the package that it comes in. You guys will get this one, unless of course I lose it. That's fishing, sorry. The reason I've got this tied on right now, as you can see in these pictures, and there was one floating around here somewhere, but anyway, there is a shad kill going on right now. Now what ends up happening as we get into early spring, a lot of times you are going to get the last kind of severe cold fronts. So you'll get a few warm nights, and what ends up happening is the shad begin to move up shallow. Now whether they're out over deep water and they move up vertically in the water column, or whether they move up to the shallow bays or creeks or points, and then all of a sudden a severe cold front will come through like it did just 2 nights ago. And what ends up happening is that when those shad move up, that severe cold front comes down and it ends up killing off some shad. So there's all kinds of shad, all kinds of birds. Now that can actually prove to be a very tough time because there's so much bait, you know, and especially on my lakes where they're super deep, you know, it's hard just to throw a rattle trap, which is a good way to do it. So a lot of times you're going to use this, and I'm going to fish it 2 ways. I'm going to vertical fish it, but with the shad dying, I'm going to pull up on some long points, and I'm really just going to yo-yo it back to me, make a long cast and yo-yo it. Sometimes I'll count it down, sometimes I'll pull it straight off the bottom. But anyway, we'll get into that a little more. Let's talk about the setup that I'm going to use. This is basically a good setup to use. This is my jig rod. Since I'm going to be using my rod to primarily impart action, I want a faster speed reel. This is actually the Lew's LFS, and it's got a 7.5 to 1. I want to be able to pick up a lot of line once I do get a bite and get these fish in the boat. Now, this is a 7'3". I like a little longer rod so that I can get a longer cast, the longest cast I can possibly get, especially if I'm out over deeper water or fishing super long points. This is a medium heavy fast action. All right, let's get out on the lake and let me show you exactly how I would use this. Before I crank the big motor up, I want to go ahead and show you on the map what I'm talking about when it comes to a long point. Now you can see here's a little point here, and this point runs way out here. Here's, you know, as the lines get closer, that's a steeper drop, and on top right here, this is the top of the point, kind of the top of a ridge, and that's exactly what I'm going to look for. I'm going to start out here, and I'm going to be making long casts up and just working my way in with this bait. So you can see, guys, there are a ton of birds out here. I don't know if you can see them off in the distance, but you know, they're dive bombing these points. Now the other thing you're going to want to make sure is that the point you've got has shad. Now you can see this is a huge ball of shad. So again, the great thing about this bait is that I can make a long cast with it, but if something happens and I see some bait underneath me, I can drop this bait vertical and just jig it off the bottom. But right now, we've got some bait out here in front of us. Let's go ahead and make a long cast and see what we can get. That little bait casts a mile. So I'm gonna let it drop. We're being blown in, so you know, we're not exactly positioned the best way that we could be. All right, it's on the bottom, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna lift it off the bottom, let it sink back down. We're gonna lift and let it sink. We're just gonna yo-yo it back. You can give it some hard rips if you want to. The water temps here are a little cold right now, and so the thing about these shad is they're dying, they're not moving really quickly. So I'm going to fish this real slow. Just get that little tail blade to spin a little bit as I lift it off the bottom. Give it a couple twitches. Don't even want it coming real far off that bottom. Don't want it coming real far off the bottom. Just Just want to fish it back and see if we get any bites. Okay, so the other thing we can do is we can actually drop vertical. So I'm dropping it right by the trolling motor. You should see that bait right there's the line. You can see the line coming down. There's the bait, some fish. I forgot to cut my other unit off, so you're going to see a little bit of interference. So all I'm doing now is I'm just ripping this bait off the bottom, letting it fall back down to see if we can get a fish to come up and react that's underneath us. Sometimes you can let it fall all the way to the bottom. Sometimes if they're suspended, you just drop it right down in front of their nose. So I don't know what's going on back here, but it looks like the mountain's on fire. It's spring. It seems like it happens all the time on this lake. But as always, guys, make sure you go check out Mystery Tackle Box. Make sure you tell them I sent you. That really helps my channel. It helps me to be able to do these giveaways, and it helps me to be able to do a lot of other stuff and come out here and make these videos and you know, try and do the giveaways and stuff for you guys. So how do you enter the giveaway? Well, I like to keep things simple. So in the comment section below, just tell me which bait in the March box you're going to want to use the most. All right, guys, as always, like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell. Oh yeah, you know I love to talk about fishing with you. Leave those questions and comments below. Don't forget what bait out of this March box you want to use most. We'll do the drawing in 1 week, and you guys rock.